hey, so I'm not making this up, all right? Because Mission Impossible 8 is supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2, has now been delayed to 2025. Apparently the title, which was again called Dead Reckoning Part 2, is going to change. So I don't know if they're going to, I don't know, maybe they're going to call it Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 and then add something to it. That would make the title very lengthy. But also the film has been delayed to 2025 because of the ongoing strikes with the actors. You said you didn't watch the most recent one, correct?
No, we did watch it. What?
We just found the pacing kind of bad.
Yeah.
I thought you said you didn't watch it.
Definitely
That's
watched
what you said
it.
at the beginning of the episode.
No.
Well, then you lied. Or maybe I'm high. I don't know. I could be
You're
high.
in drugs again.
I know. Bad stuff. Yeah, so you guys didn't like the pacing. What about it? I thought it was really good. I thought that I've been noticing something with these Mission Impossible films is that the dialogue is very simple, that everything is based off the performance of the actors. So it's like they have a lot of generic spy stuff in there, nothing too overly complicated. They're always trying to find some object, right? Like a key or a card or a rabbit's, like something very, very, very simple. And everything is based around them trying to find those objects to save the day. But I just feel like everyone that you choose as an actor or an actress, everyone in their role in the film does a really good job, and the performances are always so amazing. And I think that's what grants it the 97% or the 90 plus scores that they always get over the past couple of years. What's up?
All right. Hello and welcome to the Vertical Bar Podcast. I'm your co-host, Your Name Here, joining you from Orlando, Florida, to dive into the latest innovations, tech trends, and just talk about the tech industry at large. And I'm here with...
And I'm Marcus, your other co-host. Together, we're on a mission to explore, share, and demystify the world of technology.
From our own company, Vertical Bar Media, to the wider tech universe, we're here to delve into all things digital. But enough about us. What's on the topic list for today, Marcus?
Yes, Marcus, that's me. Thank you. So this week in tech, we've got the Microsoft CEO admits that pulling the plug on the Windows Phone was quite a mistake 10 years afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight's always 2020, right?
Yes, it is. And now it's 2023.
And now it's 2023, and we have the official Florida Man Games coming here to Florida State. That's going to be pretty interesting. There's going to be events like keg toss, running from the police. I know there's going to be a lot of community integration with like the police and fire departments and stuff like that. Awesome. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. So in that, I guess you guys will be running from the police, which is similar to Tom Cruise's character in the Mission Impossible films. It looks like Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 came out, I believe, last year. No, it was this year.
It was definitely this year.
Yes.
I actually did get to go see it recently. I actually did get to go see it in theaters. It was pretty good. But
yeah, it released on a home release, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I ended up renting it, but I really liked it. Yes, I liked it. Well, apparently Part 2 is no longer going to be called Dead Reckoning Part 2. So I know due to the actors' strike, I believe, it was delayed until 2025. It was supposed to come out in the first half of next year. So, yeah, we'll talk about that later. How about it?
Well, without forgetting to thank our AI overlords for scripting this intro, let's dive into it. What's going on with Microsoft admitting that Windows Phone was a mistake?
We all know I love Windows Phone. I love Windows Mobile. I think we talked about Windows Phone last week in regards to it being able to be used still in order to get around some YouTube ads. I know YouTube ads have been sort of tricky lately, but Google has obviously been clamping down on that pretty hard. But Windows Phone still has access to YouTube without there being ads, I guess. Yes. So now the CEO of Microsoft, who has done really well in the company, people usually like him. I'm always bad at saying his name. I believe it's Satya Nadella, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I've heard most commonly.
Cool. Awesome. Satya Nadella. Awesome. Yeah, so he admitted during an interview this past week that the company is sort of realizing its own mistake in pulling out of the mobile market a couple of years back. I believe it was in 2019 that they officially, no, that's the almost something else. I think they officially pulled out sometime in the last couple of years. I forgot exactly what it was, but they were losing support for so many years before that, and they pulled the plug completely.
Well, like for everything that Google's offers, or even with a topic that we talked a while ago about was Google's 7 years of support for the Pixel line.
For the Pixel 8, yeah, bro.
Pretty much because of Microsoft and like their antitrust suits in the early 90s, companies are kind of required to support software after they release it, at least if it has a big enough deployment like Windows does. So as far as them like canceling the line, like support for it usually ends at least like three years later.
So what you were saying is that Windows Phone usually, so after everything died down, they usually support it with security updates and other updates and things like that, even after the physical hardware is no longer being sold. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So even though it was discontinued and it was stopped being supported, the hardware was most likely already.
Yeah, kind of like how Windows XP just recently stopped getting service packs, or actually, I think XP was
I remember
completely,
the service packs.
Yeah.
They don't call
completely
that
eliminated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like now service packs are called like 22H2 or 21H. They have really confusing names now. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah. Nobody understood what the service pack meant anyway. And like, and it's really kind of confusing now. And I wonder what Microsoft's going to actually change to in the future. Because like right now it's Windows 11, and then it's going to move to Windows 12. But they have certain categories of 11, like 21H0 and 21H1 and 21H2.
That confused the hell out of me for Windows 10.
Yeah, so I don't know at what point they'll just call it Windows, and it just will not be like a new version. It'll just be the service pack that it gets, or like I don't really know too much about operating system design to fundamentally know why they would actually just not continue Windows 10, and then like move on to it. But I do understand that they're supporting new technologies, and they're supporting all this other kind of. I think one of the biggest things for Windows 11 was the TPM, was the Trusted Platform Module that is supposed to be installed on most computers.
Yes, it's supposed to be more secure. Yep.
Yeah, which didn't last very long.
And more trusted.
And I don't actually understand a lot of why
Windows 11 was launched.
Exists. I don't really understand why that's even necessary.
So, like, what does that actually do? That just means that something is verified before the operating system basically loads up, maybe somewhere in the BIOS, somewhere in the hardware where what processors support it, and they basically only wanted it to. It was required in order for Windows 11 to be launched, but now there's some way for you to be able to launch Windows 11 even without.
Okay, so I found it on I found it on WindowsCentral.com.
Cool, we like
great
them.
resource.
I think that's who reported this story. Yeah.
Yeah, so a TPM, a Trusted Platform Module, is a security chip embedded into most systems that provide a hardware-based, tamper-resistant environment to generate, store, and protect encryption keys. Now, you'll remember that
that's a good thing, right?
Exactly. When Windows 10 came out, one of the features of the Pro version of Windows 10 was the ability to use BitLocker, which allowed you to encrypt your hard drive. So if your computer was ever stolen, the data could not be like stolen, which is absolutely great. But I think a lot of there's always a delicate balance in the market, right? There's always the balance for computers to be more secure, and also for computers to be accessible and repairable, right? Like, there's no reason that if my CPU on the motherboard is detachable and it fails, that I shouldn't be able to replace it. But like, I think Sony just released their PlayStation 5, and like in the small print, they have like a plug-in module for DVDs and stuff for like physical games or physical media. Yeah, and so one of the things is when you plug it in, it requires internet connection to device lock the essentially Blu-ray player to your Sony PlayStation 5. The product hasn't been released yet, and nobody really knows what is the deal. Like, if Sony just decides to turn off their activation servers when in a couple of years in the future, are all those going to be bricked and dead and unusable, like a lot of Nintendo Switches?
What happened? Wait, what happened with the Switch was deemed brickable and unusable? Did something similar happen to that?
Well, no, that's a closed ecosystem and it doesn't have repairability
Oh,
access. So, like,
gotcha.
if the screen dies on a Switch, but the Switch is still good, like, good luck. Maybe buy one online. But even then, like, things like Apple, they have like device keys that you can't plug in certain parts with certain models of phones, and yeah. We don't know how far that goes with Nintendo Switch, but I mean, with them releasing a 2.0, it's probably going to get tighter.
Gotcha. I do know that's always a big thing. Like, not only things being backwards compatible, but things also being repairable. I guess I never see it from that perspective, but it's good that you always bring it up because I always forget that that's a huge part of the tech market. People don't like always buying. I'm always just like I like buying new stuff, so I never really have my stuff for too long. But I mean, some of these products are powerful and they can last 5, 10 years without needing to be traded in or needing to be thrown away. So I always forget, especially if you have kids, that it probably is a cheaper method to go ahead and get something repaired versus to throw it out and replace it, and then also like, waste as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's just generally e-waste. I mean, I have a box full of computer parts that if something breaks, I can repair it, right? But like,
it's probably
as devices get, for my laptop, and it's probably a couple of years ago, but I cracked the screen on it somehow, and I bought a new screen and I replaced it myself for like $100. Yeah, because like I have soldering irons, I have everything that I need to be able to repair technology like that. I mean, I can.
Did you go to school for that, or did you teach that yourself, like a soldering and
I did some soldering in college, but
cool.
I do a lot more.
No, because I want to be able to repair my own laptops going forward at some point in the future, even though it's not something that I think I can do yet. But I know how to do the RAM.
But see, that's what sucks. They're getting worse and worse.
I want to be able to do screens. Yeah, because they're getting thinner and lighter.
Yeah, I mean that's not even that's not even generally the reason why. I mean, we see now that there are thin and light laptops that are able to be replaced. I mean, looking at products like framework laptops. Have you seen those?
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
And like look at what that actually can turn into. Like look at what that, like you can do with that. Like, oh man, the laptop screen broke. Oh well, like, hey, I've actually wanted like a media PC, something that I could plug into my TV that's not an Apple TV, but I can still run apps off of and like do things with. I can install Linux on it or like, some other fancy Android clone to do something. But no, if it's a MacBook, good luck. You're not going to get that use out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So what you can do is buy that Apple Care, and go to the store and they'll fix it for you. I know. I used to work.
Well,
with them,
I mean,
so
that's
I am kind of being an a-hole right now. But
I mean, that's kind of the scam. Like you take your laptop to Apple Repair, right? And like they charge you the monthly money and like they give you essentially maybe a refurbished or a brand new laptop. But what do? They take that laptop in the back, they take out all the broken parts, they ship it somewhere else, and then they add in some new parts and hey, this is a new refurbished laptop. It works great. But it was the one that you just bought. Maybe they sold you a couple upgrades on the new laptop that you just got. Maybe you got some new storage options. That hey, you could have bought that storage for $50, online, but we're gonna charge you $350 for the privilege of buying it in an Apple store.
Yeah, so now that we're back on the subject of mobility, let's go back to Windows and this Windows Phone shit. So like, do you think Microsoft could have been successful in changing around Windows Phone or I'm sorry, Windows Mobile into something that still could have been competitive? I know last week we talked about Google not supporting their software and their apps and their products on Windows Phone, which was one of the biggest reasons why it failed. But do you think Microsoft could have held on to what magic they had before that point? If they
I can only imagine what Windows Phone would look like right now with AI.
They would have been great business devices. I still think. I still think.
Imagine my phone with Copilot, but like I could actually use the text to speech on it.
Right. Right. Dude,
Right?
Swift key
Right?
dude, the Swift
Actually,
key, all of
yeah.
the Microsoft like dictation stuff in their Android products, like if you ever use Microsoft OneNote for like voice memos and voice notes, it's way more accurate than the default Google services and Samsung. Also, if you ever use SwiftKey
Oh yeah.
as your virtual
I
keyboard
recently
instead of
installed
Gboard,
SwiftKey.
Microsoft is killing it with all of their voice typing and dictation stuff. It's way better than what's offered elsewhere. So yeah,
Oh, 100%.
it
I
seems like I
recently
don't know if
installed a SwiftKey.
yeah, it seems shitty at first, but the way it learns you and later on, use it for a couple of weeks and you'll see. I know
Oh
I
no,
did.
it was
It's
an
way better
immediate
than Gboard.
improvement. It was an immediate improvement over the Samsung keyboard that comes with my
Good.
Note 20 Plus.
So glad you said that.
It was
And
because it's
it's
like,
got Copilot built in.
well, that's not even the nicest thing about it. The nicest thing is I can actually like customize the keyboard. Like maybe I use
Yeah,
my
you
keyboard in
can.
landscape mode and I
Yeah,
don't want a number row across the top, or like
yeah,
I don't like I want to have the images on the back of the keys to know what the long press hold is, or like
yeah,
maybe I want it to take up the whole width of my screen from side to
yeah.
side. And maybe I wanted like the buttons to fill the actual spaces and they're not being like small and cramped. Like, yeah,
Yeah, dude, you
maybe
can do a lot with it. I'm so glad you said that. I feel like I'm the only one that knows how awesome SwiftKey is. I've been trying to
yeah. Well,
promote it on fucking Facebook for a long time. It's amazing.
oh
It's
yeah.
so cool.
Well, hey,
It's
so
so
on
cool.
that topic, actually, if you do want to promote stuff, maybe
Hmm.
promote the Google app thing.
The Google app thing. What do you mean?
Yeah. So like, hey, if somebody wants to click and like figure out more about SwiftKey, they should
Hmm.
have the link to the store to automatically do it. Like you should remove as much user action as possible in an
Gotcha. Yeah,
advertisement,
no.
right?
I used to do that in my older articles, but yeah, no, that's something I would definitely add back. That way, yeah,
Yeah,
it can
that
just take them directly to it because yeah, installing apps can be tricky for some people, especially when there's a lot of apps on there and yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
Well, I mean, and yeah, and also that like kind of agency too, like to have them actually
I
go
love that
to the
word.
store, search for SwiftKey, and then download it. It's like asking a lot for most people. That's
Yeah,
honestly
yeah, no,
asking a lot for me. I had to actually get fed
yeah.
up with, like I had to know SwiftKey was there, and I had to get fed up with Samsung's keyboard to be like, hey, maybe I should actually just try SwiftKey like once,
Yeah.
and like now I just won't go back. The only reason that I have the other keyboard still is because I can't figure out how to copy the clipboard over yet.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, and
Because I have a
also it's cool
pretty,
because SwiftKey can like sync with your Windows keyboard as well.
oh
If you
yeah, so
sign
I
into your
yeah,
account.
I
I
already
haven't
have.
tested it out yet, but that seems cool as fuck.
Well, I already have Edge like that. So like my Edge browser is
Hmm.
shared between my desktop, my laptop, and my phone.
Hell
And
yeah.
they have all the same bookmarks. They have all the same like history if I wanted to. But most importantly, the bookmarks. So just anytime I go onto my laptop or my desktop, I have the same exact browser at the top, you know,
That's
same
yeah,
exact
and
keys, the
I
same
love
exact
stuff like that,
everything.
being able to sign in, sync it up, because like it's good to be able to pick up where you left off, like when you're switching to your phone. I know phones aren't really as capable as desktops, right? But like being able to pick up where you left off and like do small things before you get back to your desktop or your laptop is essential, and it's easier to get stuff done. So yeah, yeah, I think it's called like cross compatible or cross device compatibility or some shit like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
something that I think Google and Microsoft are doing a lot better at because Google doesn't really have a popular desktop OS and Microsoft doesn't have a mobile OS. So they've both been working together a lot more lately to make sure that it's sort of a seamless experience. I know nearby share is now a thing on Windows, and like that used to not be a thing on Windows at all. I think we talked about that for a little bit. It used to
Yeah,
only be
yeah,
available on
yeah.
Chrome OS and
I think
Android devices.
I
And
I think I sent you an article about it, like how actually useful it was. Like you could actually send devices. I could send stuff from my phone to my computer, like through
yes,
Wi-Fi, but you just
right.
are like
And it's
kind of connected
fast.
to it on Bluetooth.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
it actually directly competes with AirDrop by Apple. I know Apple AirDrop has been a thing for a while, but it's very seamless. But now to have two companies who aren't even a single entity be able to sort of replicate the same thing and it be just as good means that, even without Windows Phone or Windows Mobile being a thing, there's a way to still have this sort of synced openness without it being one company, the way it is with Apple. So I always look forward to things like that always being an option as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and that's kind of where I'm stuck with like phone devices in general, right? Like
yeah.
I want them to be more desktop like, but at the same time, like they're just not as useful in that manner, right?
Right.
I just don't know how. I just don't know how to bridge that gap.
AI. You have to basically combine AI assistant and voice to text, or I'm sorry, text to voice. You have to basically combine the accessibility features with AI on your phone and be familiar with all of them in order for you to be able to get as much done on your phone as a desktop. It's going to be a lot of, a lot of it's just a lot of thinking outside the box. And I hate saying that because it sounds so generic, but it's not as straightforward as it may seem.
Because that's what we were told not to do at Whitewater all the time.
I remember, yeah. Right. No, we're still living up to it. We're definitely still living up to it for sure. Yes.
Well, let's live it up a little bit with this Florida Man game.
Florida being weird, but cool.
Yeah.
So you're a resident
Florida Man
in Florida,
Games
right?
is a wild athletic competition that's been held annually since 2021. But I guess COVID has been kind of downplaying a little bit. Some of the events have been held in the previous years is like a weaponized pool noodle mud duel, evading arrest obstacle course, category 5 cash grab. That's like a money machine thing. Mullet contest, of course, and a chicken coop. We'll try to catch as many chickens as possible in a limited amount of time.
Good God.
Yeah,
it sounds like one of those things that you would hear about that wouldn't actually be true in like a movie or something, but it's actually happening in real life, which is cool. I like maybe shit like this.
Did we eat the onion?
Chased by
no, actually,
police
I did see it. I saw a hilarious article. It was like, oh yeah, it was Jada Pinkett Smith is pregnant with Chris Rock's baby.
Oh God!
And it's like from the
no
the onion itself, and like the first comment on that thread was, "I almost ate the onion."
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no!
It's just so sensational, but that was actually like an article from I think about 10 years ago or something. Oh man, the onion is just radical. This was absolutely.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. During all that laughter, I just realized that you said that was an article from The Onion. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I heard the comment about The Onion. I was like, why does he think this is so fucking funny? But now I get it. Sorry. Oops.
Well, did you eat the onion too?
I did. Fuck. So do you plan on going to this Florida Man Games thing? Is this going to be near you, or is this something that they just want to talk about?
I think this is actually going to be in Jacksonville. I was kind of interested, but it's just Florida stuff is weird.
Florida but it's cool though. I wouldn't mind getting chased by fake police officers to see if I can get away, so I can I don't know, do some crazy shit in the real world and not get caught. To be training. Just kidding. Oh shit!
All right.
Oh yeah, what's up?
I'm looking up online, seeing what's going on here. Yeah, so it looks like it's in St. Augustine,
cool.
Which is about halfway between Daytona Beach and Jacksonville for anybody that actually knows geography and like what the state of Florida looks like.
Nice. Yeah, I have family in Jacksonville. Excuse me. In Jacksonville, I haven't seen them in a couple of years, but maybe the next time I go down, it'll be centered around when this happens. I don't know. I looked up some of the pictures and it did look fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a good community event and stuff. So, and it's only $45 for an entry, and I think there's a couple other
not bad.
Couple other tiers of pricing.
How did you hear about this?
Facebook, obviously.
Oh, cool, nice. I know it's
honestly, like I'm just typing in Florida Man Games right now, and the first 10 hits are all different news articles that came out this month. So I think it's kind of going viral, honestly.
Nice. That's good.
Because it's Tampa Bay Times, Associated Press, NBC News, Palm Beach Post, Forbes apparently is making a Florida Man game. Like they have an article on it. This all came out on the 26th, so like 3 days ago. So I guess that was probably just what was generating views last week.
Dude, speaking of dates and stuff like that, I forgot about that site that I discovered. I think we were talking about it. You knew about it, but then I found out about it and you had remembered it. Google something. Google Trends, where you can search and see like what people have been searching about. I haven't used that in like 3 months. I need to load it up before we talk about the next podcast, because you just reminded me how like it's useful to talk about stuff like this as actually becoming popular.
You want to get an audience? You want a little depressing website to go visit?
What?
Killedbygoogle.com.
Oh no! What have they added this year or this month?
I don't know what they've added this month, but I know that Google Jamboard is going to be done next year.
Yeah, in 2024.
Google Podcasts.
Yes, the thing I was trying to get us on, I guess, at some point soon. It's on my list. That's going to be on.
Google Domains. Yeah, Dropcam was a line of Wi-Fi video streaming cameras.
And they've been going hard on cameras lately. They actually dropped some of their I think they dropped their Nest cameras as well. I think they still have the Nest, whatever the fuck those things are called, but I think they
Cloud, Internet of Things Core, YouTube Stories, Grasshopper. These are just killed within the last couple months. Google Currents, Conversational Actions, Google Street View standalone app. I assume that probably got put somewhere else.
Probably in Maps directly, yeah, because it was weird. They had a separate Street View map or a Street View app in Android. I don't know, during COVID, Google like split up Maps into like 4 different apps, and it just seems like maybe they're putting them all back into one app now.
Nobody knows what Google's doing.
Yeah, Google randomly does stuff like that. I think the other developers or designers get bored and just want to basically like make a new app or something, and then they realize, well, we were just doing that because we were bored, not because it was actually useful.
Google does exactly what we're trying to do, right? It's a shotgun approach. Right. Just do stuff until it's an astronomically large hit. And like,
there you go.
Yeah, I don't think Google has the same kind of vision with the creation of these apps, or like, I don't know, because with Google, I don't understand why they couldn't have made Uber. I don't know why they couldn't have like. They could have just crushed Uber, like just snapped them between their fingers. But Google actually like gave them money to do stuff. Like,
I was gonna say Google probably has a partnership with them and probably does some of their I don't know, software stuff. I know Google Cloud is embedded into a lot of different online services from a lot of different companies, and like I'm trying to study it a little bit. So some of the names I hear. So it just seems, I don't know. I know Google and NVIDIA is launching something based off the technology that Google Stadia was based off of. And now NVIDIA is now using their AI, whatever the hell, online stuff and combining it with that. And now they're in
their AI money printer.
Yeah, there you go. All that AI shit. So it's like, yeah, no, it's interesting to see like how Google like gets into companies to like, yeah, crush them or like uses them to promote Google products, like. Yeah. They always have a way in, but it's just I would like to have a different way that they can tackle it.
I would like to see the calculus on something that they do, because like, yeah, I mean, Google could just fund somebody else to do it, but they also could just use their developers to do it. And like their developers would probably
only have data on everything.
Make something better and like make the company more money than they would if they just owned a percentage of a smaller company. Like I don't understand the calculus on it. I'd love to see it.
I'm so interested to see what they're going to do with Fitbit, if they're going to leave it as Fitbit or absorb it into the Pixel Watch. Because they weren't going to bring out the Pixel Watch until they got something, and they ended up buying Fitbit and then bringing out the Pixel Watch, I think like 2 or 3 years later. Now they have the Pixel Watch 2. But then you have like the Fitbit, who's also owned by Google, and they're just kind of, I don't know, I guess the Fitbit is still more geared towards exercise and tracking, and the watch is more so like an Apple Watch competitor. But it's always interesting to see how long after a tech company buys something before it's actually fully absorbed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think random observation. I think adoption for watches and smart devices like that is going to be always pretty low, honestly.
Well, the thing is that, like, depending on where you go, a lot of people do have smartwatches on. Like, Apple Watch is still obviously the most popular one, but there still
Yeah.
is a market for smartwatches. Like, I don't know if people use them that much, but I do think that people usually buy one and they keep it for a couple of years. I don't know. If you walk downtown or if you go into like a major city, most people have smartwatches on. Maybe not elsewhere, but if I get on MARTA in Atlanta, there's a lot of smartwatches. So I don't think
It's
people
interesting.
talk
Yeah.
about them and promote them as much as like smartphones and laptops, but I do think it's sort of something that people have maybe gotten used to buying. Maybe
Yeah.
not replace it
Yeah.
as
I mean, I
often,
know,
but
that, every once in a while, and I go into the T-Mobile store, they have deals for like free smart devices like that with a
yeah,
purchase of a phone or something.
yeah. I had a Fitbit Sensa, or I'm sorry, a Fitbit Versa 3 during COVID, and I loved it. I
Yeah.
fucking loved it. It was awesome, dude. I just forgot that I even had it, and it was tracking me for like months at a time. I would keep it charged and just throw it on. I would never use it, but I realized it was tracking me, and I was able to like track what days I was super anxious and what days I was going through it just by looking at my data, and it was cool just to be able to have those kind of records. I don't know. It was just interesting. I didn't really know what I wanted it for, but it tracked the hell out of me, and I just liked having that information. Um, but yeah, no, it's just smartwatches are interesting because they started off as bands and now they're watches, but now they're exercise co-pilots. I don't know. So it's like, what if AI gets put in smartwatches soon? Then they'd be kind of cool, right? That
I
still hasn't
mean,
happened yet.
it depends on how much, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching a video earlier that had the new Apple Watch, and
hmm
it was good in some tasks, but
hmm
it's always like a magic trick. Like, it's just smart enough that you can use it most of the time, but it's not really
Yeah.
as smart as you think it should be, or
Yeah.
something like
Well,
this.
it's kind of like a companion device. I don't think it will ever be able to do much on its own, but I think that if you combine it with something else, especially with it having all of it like having accelerometers and sensors on it, and I think it could be used maybe in combination with other devices, maybe VR. I don't know. Maybe like smart home features, like if you just wear a watch around the
I don't know.
house,
For me, that's
obviously they
kind of
have voice
BS because, like, look
recognition.
at the. Have you ever
Well,
seen
F
the
you,
Garmin
not
smartwatches?
no, I haven't, but good for them for still being in play. I thought all the GPS companies were out of business. So
Oh no,
no, I have not seen them, but good for them.
Garmin, Garmin makes aviation GPSs. They're never going to go out
Oh,
of
cool.
business.
They
Yeah.
made it. That's so awesome. You
Oh
always think
no,
that
they've been
whenever
doing it.
somebody,
They've been doing it forever. But yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but no,
yeah,
Garmin is like one of those companies that's just like not going to fold anytime soon.
thank
Um,
God.
just because like there are literally like airplanes with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth what they call glass cockpits, which are just basically two like 19
You
inch.
said what? Glass
They're
cock
called
what?
glass cockpits.
Oh, cool. Gotcha. I was thinking
Because
mature. Sorry.
traditionally an airplane you'd navigate with what's called steam gauges or vacuum pump gauges.
hmm
These are powered by the engine, and it's not like they're powered electrically by the engine. They're actually powered pneumatically, like usually with air and gyroscopes, and the engine, to actually drive it. And that's how like very, very fundamental mechanical systems that rarely fail, as compared to like digital cockpit systems that have, you know, built-in information. They can do ADS-B tracking. They can just do leaps and bounds over like trying to navigate with like like a compass essentially. Um, but they cost as much as the airplanes in some cases. The integration of them, and it's just because for aviation technology there has to be like redundant systems, there has to be fail-safe components. um it's always kind of funny because like unless you understand what is like aviation grade, it doesn't really make a lot of sense on like why a screw would be $45 for an airplane when like I can
$45.
go to
Good
Home
God.
Depot and buy the same threading, right? Well, the
hmm
difference between the screw that I bought for my airplane from a reputable airplane vendor is that it has all the information about where that bolt was made, what mines the material was extracted from, like what facilities it was poured in, like it has everything about that entire product's life cycle attached with it. And that's what makes airplane components so expensive, is because like they have to have that traceability. They have to have that like handoff of like, okay, these airplane parts came from this factory, were they used in other airplanes? Like, how can we identify that? Like, not to the same level that cars are, right? Like, cars have a manufacturing defect or something like this. They might decide to do a recall if it kills enough people. But airplanes, like, you get 0% liability, like 0% latitude on any of that kind of stuff. It's really interesting.
I thought you were actually going to say liability.
Yeah, so the Garmin watches, man, these things are incredible. They are fully independent devices. Like, if you were going hiking or something, you could take your Garmin and it would give you GPS maps along the entire route. Generally, you have to have a separate LTE plan for it, just like the Apple watches and the Samsung watches. Yes. But they're just better in almost every single function and form way.
Wait, so like when you say it's a standalone device, like as far as like its capabilities, that I know it has some interesting hardware, but like, does it use Garmin's own operating system, or is it based off Pixel? I was gonna say Pixel Watch OS, but it's just Watch OS from Google.
Yeah, I think it's probably a fork of the Android wearable OS.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because I do know there's some there are some third-party companies that still use Wear OS as its operating system, but I couldn't imagine somebody having their own and somehow thriving, because it wouldn't connect with any of the apps, and they'd have to make all the apps for it. And it's like, that makes I don't know, that would be almost impossible.
That's kind of where I get stuck with phones, right? Because like, I have this Android device. It has a phone in it. It has like, when I say phone, I mean it has a cellular connected antenna. It has a Wi-Fi antenna. It has Bluetooth antennas. It has maybe a microphone jack if we're so lucky. And it has like SD card slots. It has like all this kind of expandable stuff, but like I kind of have to like get in further to the ecosystem to be able to use it. Whereas like my computer, I have a open graphics card slot in there and pop a new one in. Like, I don't have to install the manufacturer's software like to generally use that kind of product. I mean, generally I need like a driver or something, fundamental, which is usually provided, and it's usually collaborated between Windows. That's where I like coming from this world of computers where you can just upgrade them and change out the.
All right, fine. We have to go talk about movies, but this is actually one that I want to talk about. So, no, I get what you're saying about the upgradability and expansibility, which is a word that I've just become familiar with.
Just completely made that up. Good job.
No, it sounds made up, right? But it's actually in the dictionary, and it was recommended to me on fucking, I think it was Google or something. Then I looked it up. It's real. Expansibility, which is the same thing, I guess. I guess there's a better way of saying expandability, but I guess I don't know. Whatever.
Stop making shit up.
No. Hey, so I'm not making this up, all right? Because Mission Impossible 8, which is supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2, has now been delayed to 2025. Apparently the title, which was again called Dead Reckoning Part 2, is going to change. So I don't know if they're going to, I don't know, maybe they're going to call it Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 and then add something to it. That would make the title very lengthy. But also the film has been delayed to 2025 because of the ongoing strikes with the actors. You said you didn't watch the most recent one, correct?
No, we did watch it. What?
We just found the pacing kind of bad.
Yeah.
I thought you said you didn't watch it.
Definitely watched it.
You said at the beginning of the episode. No. Well, then you lied. Or maybe I'm high. I don't know. I could be
doing drugs again.
I know. Bad stuff. Yeah, so you guys didn't like the pacing. What about it? I thought it was really good. I thought that I've been noticing something with these Mission Impossible films is that the dialogue is very simple, that everything is based off the performance of the actors. So it's like they have a lot of generic spy stuff in there, nothing too overly complicated. They're always trying to find some object, right? Like a key or a card or a rabbit's, like something very, very, very simple, and everything is based around them trying to find those objects to save the day. But I just feel like everyone that you choose as an actor or an actress, everyone in their role in the film does a really good job, and the performances are always so amazing. And I think that's what grants it the 97% or the 90 plus scores that they always get over the past couple of years. But yeah, that's it. Just wanted to get that out.
I mean, so me and Dan went to go see it in theaters, and we thought it was, actiony and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, it was.
the part that's getting me is that it was just so long. Like
it was long, but that's the thing.
Worst part. The worst part about how long it is that
yeah.
It's part one.
Yes,
like, that's literally the worst part. Like, you guys could have done anything. You could have made a trilogy. You could have done like 1,000 other things, but you could have made a 90-minute movie, or like a maximum of 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be. What was it? 3 hours?
It was like 2 hours.
I have the runtime right here in front of me. Somewhere.
It was like 2:15, 2:20. I wouldn't say 3 hours, but it was long, yes. But I do think because of the superhero movie, I do think because of like Infinity War and
2 hours and 43 minutes.
Okay, that's almost 3 hours. You're right. So that's like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever time. That's how long the Batman was. So I think roughly that's also how long Spider-Man No Way Home was. So only a couple of movies are like around the 2:45 limit. And
I do think the new Scorsese movie is 3 hours and 26 minutes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whenever you watch what is it? The Irishman on fucking Netflix. That's like a 4-hour movie.
Please. Oh, that was painful.
I didn't like it either, but I didn't finish. But everyone loved it as far as the critics go. I think it's one of those movies where people jumped on it.
But they hate it.
It's just one of those circle jerk things, man. Like,
yes, I do agree that it was definitely that. But I didn't finish it, so I do have to admit that. But yeah, no, maybe the pacing was off because it's a part one. Usually with those movies, you have to wait for the second part to fully judge it. So like, I don't. Maybe the pacing is going to be different in part two, which has now been renamed. I do know that Marvel is trying out this whole short movie thing. I know Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, I believe it was called. That one was that was a 2 hour and 1 minute movie, which is short for a Marvel film, especially the third of a trilogy. But now the Marvels is only going to be 45 minutes. Or I'm sorry, an hour and 45 minutes, and that comes out next month. So, I know you're saying it's too long. We'll see how some of these short movies do, and see like if Hollywood is just trying to like test out what's too long and what's not. I know sometimes in the past, like if you shorten films just to make more money, it usually doesn't work out because then some of the story gets cut. So I don't feel like Mission Impossible is a movie where you can really cut anything to make it shorter but better.
I am
That's just my take, though.
I'm just completely lost and flabbergasted of like why Hollywood is getting worse at making content.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
like let's say
they don't
we
know
took
how to
Mission
capture
Impossible,
superhero.
right? We have two movies. We have a part one and a part two. They're each maybe 2 hours long.
Yes.
And then we have like some other side content, like maybe a short run series that's like 3 episodes long. That's like an hour and 30 minutes total or something like this. That's like part of it, but it's not required to understand the movie, like what a lot of Marvel does. Like you have to see She-Hulk to understand what happened in Ant-Man. But I think what they're saying with Loki, right, is that like Loki's about to crush the multiverse.
Yes.
Which well, I would be so pissed that if Marvel uses this multiverse as a reason for their shitty writing.
Well, that's the thing. I think due to fan backlash, I think Marvel, and I believe that
they're just gonna say, "Oh, hey, this was the makeup universe. We're gonna do the real one now," and then like, kick-ass movies. I think that would just absolutely suck.
I think when you have this much fan backlash, I'm gonna bring up Star Wars again. I think when you have this much fan backlash and everyone's being super negative and everyone's saying it's bad, they have no choice but to go in the other direction. So you know how uh the last I
I
almost said the
disagree
last
with that.
Skywalker,
I
but
so
how
disagree with
else
that.
are
But
they
go
going to
on.
be able? No, and I'm glad you disagree because I like hearing the other side, seriously. But I think with Marvel, and we were talking about this like a couple of weeks ago, how everyone's saying that the TV shows are bad, but there's only been like two bad reported TV shows. Now everyone's saying that I believe his name is Taika Waititi, who did
Yeah, yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Everyone's saying he's like this horrible director now because apparently Love and Thunder was a horrible movie. But and this was commented on a podcast on YouTube called Nerd Soup, where this guy named Aaron also agrees. It's like just because there's one or two bad things doesn't mean that someone's reputation or entire, I guess, product line should be, I guess, taken out or like canceled, you know? Like we should remember everything that's happened before and we remember all of it. That way we're like fairly assessing because Taika Waititi, and I think that's how you say it. Sorry if it's wrong. He's a really good
I don't know. I'll
director.
make it up.
Even if he had one bad film, he's not a bad director. Even if Marvel has like one or two bad TV shows, doesn't mean that they're all their TV shows are bad. And it's like when things like this keep happening, they're going to take it as they're going to lose money because people are all saying no to it. So they're going to have to change their plan somehow.
Well,
But then, like,
okay.
now you're.
Here's where I just want to interject with this.
Yeah.
One,
Yeah.
there's no such
Shoot
thing
me.
as bad press. These companies absolutely know that, right? And they,
Yeah.
if they can generate stuff with bad press, they're gonna probably try it. But honestly, I don't think they're smart enough. Usually, it's
Because they're
just
losing a lot of money lately. And
I
it's not just
I
bad
agree that they're
writing.
losing a lot of
COVID,
money, but I think they're
the movie
also
industry hasn't
pretty
recovered
ignorant
yet
on
from
why
COVID.
they're losing money, right? Like a lot of
I
the
really think it's COVID still. It seems like a lot of movies and a lot of studios and a lot of like they haven't bounced back from streaming yet. Streaming took off during COVID. People got used to seeing everything online. I don't think most people are comfortable going back to the movie theaters, not only just a couple of times, but as often as they used to before COVID. And I do think
well, I mean,
that,
also, the price of tickets, how much gas costs, how much
but that
money I don't
hasn't
make
really
anymore.
changed that much in 3 years, though. Ticket prices haven't really gone up, and gas really hasn't been as different, three
Well,
years
I
ago.
mean,
I'm
still, a
talking about
$20
over like
movie
a
ticket
three,
is
4 year.
absurd.
Yeah, but I was paying $20 in Atlantic Station like 10 years ago. Like, like in Midtown Atlanta, like
Yeah, but
that's not a new thing.
we had a little bit of the taste of the crack, right? And like it's streaming, it's
Yes.
it's much
Literally and
better.
figuratively, yes.
I can pay $20 a month and watch 1,000 movies. Thousands.
Yeah, I know.
If
And
I
now
had the
all
time.
that shit's going up too. Netflix is raising their prices.
Yeah.
They're raising their shit again. That's like twice this year already. They used to take years to raise prices. Now everyone's going up. Everyone, I don't know.
Look, I think if we can agree on
Streaming's gonna
anything.
go up, and people better go back to the fucking movie theaters, or movies are gonna start getting fucked again. I've been saying
No,
this for a
I
couple of
think if
weeks
we
now, but
look back at Barbie and Oppenheimer, right? Completely out of the blue,
yeah,
left hand, right? Like
exactly. But before
that's
that, all those DC movies. Oh, sorry, I didn't
that's
mean
the
to cut you off.
knockout
Sorry.
punch for Hollywood. And I think that's why Hollywood is fighting so hard against the strikers, right? The actors and the writers. I think Hollywood's fighting so hard against them because they're kind of realizing that people just want good original content, right? It can be based on an existing universe, but it just has
Yeah,
to be original, right? We don't need She-Hulk attorney at law. We need like She-Hulk being She-Hulk or doing something else. Like,
but isn't that a part of her character?
yeah, but like,
See, the thing about Marvel is Marvel gets criticized for doing the same thing over and over. So when they have these characters like She-Hulk and they have something that they can do with them that's sort of fun and new, then they try that out to see if it works. Because Marvel released what, like, in the past, since COVID, they've released what, like 15 seasons of TV shows, and before that they
yeah.
had zero.
Oh
So
yeah.
they had a lot coming out at one time, and I don't think what they did with She-Hulk was bad at all. I don't know. I don't think it was bad. I mean, I don't know. I guess everyone wanted her to be like every other like origin story for like a Marvel TV character. Like, it couldn't have just been like like sort of like Jessica Jones in The Defenders. Like she's not gonna be like that, like the action hero. Like it's gonna be more of like an investigative story. But like
Dude,
Daredevil, that's gonna be action. Like Iron Fist is action, right? So like
I really liked Jessica Jones, but
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it was just like random sex scenes all the time.
I didn't like any of the Netflix shows. I thought they were too slow. Every show was.
You always say that. Dan says that the morning show episodes are too long. You got to get into the dialogue, Dan, because those Netflix shows were awesome. You got to get into the script, man.
The morning show, come on.
The morning show is awesome. How dare you talk shit about Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon? They are some of the best actresses in Hollywood. How dare you? You can't say that show is bad.
Every episode feels like 4 hours.
What?
Yeah.
You got to get into the workplace, man. That fucking place. That show's awesome. It's one of my favorite shows right now. I understand that you don't like it, but it's got some really good names in it. Like some really respected actors and actresses. Like not just Reese and.
Have you watched Severance on Apple TV?
No, I want to. That's on my. I'm actually gonna watch it. Ooh, I'm probably gonna start it this week.
Yeah,
it's got
that's
some really good people in it. That's supposed to be really good.
I love that show, and one of the things I like about it is just how truly unique it is. Like,
nice.
There's some genres that kind of catch on to what it is, but like I have no fucking idea what's going on. But I know who the characters are, right? Like there's so many shows that like Loki right now. I have no idea what's going on. They added like a ton of new characters this season. Actually, no, they probably only added like 2 characters. Yeah. But like,
did you watch all the Thor movies and all the Avengers movies that had Loki in it?
No.
See, you gotta know. You gotta follow Loki from the beginning. You have to see him go. You have to see him do the good stuff first. And no, it's not. That's a continued effort and a writing team that has been writing stuff over time. And it worked for Marvel. Marvel got Infinity War and Endgame, and the film industry took off. Like you can't be mad at them for like doing something the same way to make the same money they've already made. Like I don't know. To say that they shouldn't have their shared universe when everyone in Hollywood is chasing after shared universes. No, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a shared universe.
It's like, dude, what if content like LTT was based on every single LTT video ever made, right?
That's not the same though. That's a different genre and that's a different audience.
No, I understand. Look, I understand how like as you watch LTT more, it grows on you. You get to know the different characters and things like this. Yeah. But like, what if Linus was just talking in Spanish all the time? Like, I wouldn't understand what his character is. But comic books
are already based on shared universes, so they have to pursue it, right? We already got the comic books that were isolated, the comic book films and characters that were isolated. We already got the first 3 Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire. We already got those 2 awful Punisher films. We already have the Dark Knight trilogy. We've already had the isolation. So it's like now they have to get into like the actual comic book stories where people show up in other shit and they show up in other episodes.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But like, unfortunately, like you. So you're saying, well, what you're saying is that you have to.
Like,
and I'm.
It's like Superman dies in like a Batman comic or something. Yeah. And like he never comes back to the Superman universe, and the Superman universe just ends.
That's kind of how some of the comic
no, in the multiverse, it's just like another one. No, the way that
when everyone got into a team and there was a huge battle, people died.
The way that the comic book handled it was like it's a multiverse.
Not
like
every time.
That Spider-Man is just dead now, or that Superman's just dead now. But there's another Spider-Man, or there's another Superman, and it's a completely different story.
But that's what it's going to be like in Marvel and DC when they get the story going. See, now DC's fucked.
Let's get the story going. It's been going for 10 years. And like even longer if you take the comic books into account.
They are coming. People are, how they're saying how like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is done and Christopher Evans is never coming back as Captain America. That's bullshit. I already know, and everyone else should know by this point, that they're coming back later on for sure. Like they're gonna have to. They're gonna
No,
have other.
I don't think so.
Yes, they are.
I think we're gonna see.
They
I think
totally
we're gonna see
are.
why with the new season of Loki. I mean, they've already done it. They've already
But they can't have
introduced
other
multiple
people play
versions
those
of Loki.
characters. So to say that
Yeah, you
Captain
can.
America is never coming back,
They got somebody to play.
no.
They got somebody different to play War Machine.
No, but it's the same. Okay, I see what you mean. Shut.
Legitimately, he was one
Damn
person
it,
in
you
one
almost
movie, and
got
he
me.
was another person in another movie.
Well, they
The
said
second movie.
I was about to.
they said for Deadpool
Yeah,
3,
yeah.
Chris Evans may be back as Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I heard about that. I did hear about that. So Deadpool 3 is supposed to tie together a lot of the original X-Men films.
Elektra
And
from
those.
Jennifer Garner is back.
Yes, Elektra. Yes, I loved her as
Oof.
Elektra. Elektra is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I thought she was done so well in the original Daredevil movie, and she was also done well in the Netflix Daredevil show. Two very different interpretations of her character, but I fucking loved both versions. Yeah, so Jennifer Garner's coming
She
back.
had her own movie back in like
Yes, we don't talk
2006
about
or
the movie.
something, right?
We don't talk about the movie. Sorry. People don't really like the movie. I thought the action was really good, but it was pretty cheesy and lame.
Yeah.
Only
Look,
the
the only
action was
thing.
good. Jennifer Garner, excuse me, was fucking awesome. But some of the villains were a little cartoony, and I didn't like the younger girl they had playing as one of the leads. She was fucking awful. But
Yeah,
no,
I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, so I'm glad that Dan brought up Deadpool 3 because Deadpool 3 is supposed to be like
Also be delayed, right?
sort of like bigger than like an
Mhm.
Avengers movie. It's supposed to be like the end game of X-Men. I know Marvel. What's up?
I'm gonna look up an article about.
Yeah, they're supposed to be
Deadpool
bringing back
3.
Patrick Stewart. They're supposed to be bringing back Magneto. I don't know if it's both versions, but I do know
See,
Ian McKellen.
that's where like I'm kind of interested in if Marvel's playing the long con, right? If they're just making mediocre content right now and then just
Right,
they're
so
gonna
they can
sweep it
tie it
under
all
the
together
rug until
later.
they make the good stuff, right? And
Well,
I can kind of
it's
see that as like
possible.
an investment point. They want to invest in writers, they want to invest in like showrunners and like how to,
Yeah.
the processes for I think Stagecraft was developed because of Marvel, essentially.
Right.
But yeah, I wonder if that's the longer con because we kind of saw with Deadpool 1 how they like joked that like, oh, you couldn't afford enough X-Men for your X-Men movie.
Right. And then in Deadpool
And then like
2,
in the second one, they
X-Men
kind of
literally
doubled down on that. Like they got further into the X-Mansion and like
exactly.
he was riding around in Professor X's chair, like all that kind of stuff. But they still only
and they
had the same
literally showed
characters.
up.
Yeah.
No, but the X-Men were shown in that movie. They were shown in like one shot, and it was actually the actors and actresses. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And so like I'm wondering
they're
if like that's kind of Marvel's strategy with it is that long con with their content. But I don't think that I think that's going to be more of a recovery and it's not necessarily been planned out for a while. All right, Dan's handed me an article.
Okay,
cool.
This paragraph.
In terms of reprisals, the rumors are Halle Berry as Storm, Femke Jensen as Jean Grey,
as Jean
Louis
Grey,
Tan as Shatterstar, Tara Strong as Miss Minutes, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Brian Cox as William Stryker, Delphine X as X-23, Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, Romaine as Mystique, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Ian McKellen as Magneto, and even Ben Affleck as Daredevil, and Julian McBride as Doctor Doom. What the fuck is this list? Holy shit!
Yes, dude.
And they're gonna be
crazy.
That's what kind of makes me think that the Loki episode this coming couple weeks are gonna be kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get to Loki. I may watch an episode tomorrow. I've only watched a little bit of the first episode.
First of all, just watch the first season. I guarantee you're not going to remember half the characters.
So did they actually
the
change
first season?
Sylvia? I don't think so.
Okay, I can't remember Sylvia in the first one, but she looks different.
I just remember Alligator Loki.
Yeah,
he's my
Alligator Loki.
Oh yeah, didn't he die? I think Oh yeah. Also, I think the older Loki. See, I think that
all
like
the Lokis died.
Yeah, I thought those scenes were a little weird. I didn't really like the other Lokis. I don't really
What?
like
You
when
didn't like Alligator Loki?
I didn't like. Okay, I also didn't like an Ant-Man Quantumania when there was a lot of different Ant-Mans. Like, I don't like when Marvel has like the whole like copy thing going on, where there's just like a lot of versions of the same character. I know they kind of do that to sort of explore the character more and to give us different takes on what their capabilities are and what their ambitions are, like here and in
It's
other
just all part
places.
of the
But
long
I just
con.
think it's a little cheesy. Um, I want other people to share the screen with these characters, not other versions of themselves. I don't know. It just seems like a sort of a cheap trick. So I didn't like that part of Loki, but I did think this season it was like an 80 plus for me. So overall it was pretty good. Sorry to rant about that.
No, I mean that's great there. All that for
You're
Mission
damn right it's great,
Impossible
actually.
8.
Yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, no. You guys better rewatch that movie, or hopefully when the second one comes out, we can all watch it together. I'm sure things will be. Hopefully Dan will be back, or maybe we can live stream it and give our live commentary. I'm sure things will be pretty advanced by then. So
Well,
yeah,
hey, dude, there's literally a ton of channels on YouTube that are just like two people watching movies.
dude, that would be amazing.
I'd
Yeah, I
like to
think we
start a
could get
channel
that.
that's three dudes watching a movie.
Yeah, that would be good. We'll come up with the snazzy name for it. So every time
Well,
I
I
say
think
I'm
that's all
leaving
we
at
have time
10,
for.
we always go to 10:15.
What?
I was saying every time I say I have till 10, we always go to 10:15 because we start talking about movies and it always gets really good.
Yeah, so the movie talk has to go first to ruin the rest of the podcast.
I guess. I don't know. All right. So yeah, this is all the time we have. Back to Jared. Key music.
Well, that's all the time we have for today on the Vertical Bar podcast. As always, it's been a blast exploring technology with all of you.
Oh yeah, indeed it has, Jared. Indeed it has. And remember, folks, if you want to learn more about the topics we've discussed, check out the description with links to our social media profiles. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast for more tech adventures.
Absolutely, Marcus. And we'd love to hear from you. Reach out with any questions, ideas, or just say hi. We're on all social media platforms as Vertical Bar Media.
Until next time, folks, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember the only constant in technology is change.
Nice.